Things have been getting interesting over at Ibrox, and today we've got a story that lifts the curtain on a situation that's been bubbling away quietly in the background. Russell Martin has opened up about something that's been affecting one of Rangers' most talked about midfielders, and let's just say it's not your usual run-of-the-mill transfer rumor. We're talking about a player who's been right in the spotlight for both his talent and the speculation swirling around. Him! And now the manager's given us a rare straight from the source glimpse into what's actually been going on. But that's not all. Because in the last 24 hours, we've had a flood of news from the Rangers camp from Champions League qualifiers, to dressing room dynamics and even some words of advice from a man who knows exactly what it's like to feel the heat in that dugout. Let's start between the sticks. Jack Butland, Rangers #1 for most of last season, has made it crystal clear. At no point during the summer did he think about walking away from the club. And that's despite losing his starting spot for a spell to Liam Kelly towards the back end of last season. That's the kind of challenge that could make some players start glancing at their agents' phone numbers, but not Butland. He's dug in his heels and said his focus was always on coming back stronger, not on finding the exit door. And if you saw his performance against Panathinaikos in the Champions League qualifiers, you'll know exactly why Russell Martin's been more than happy to put him back in the team. He was excellent commanding his area, making the big stops and helping Rangers seal progression to the next round. And now with a second leg against Victoria Plzeň on the horizon, carrying a comfortable 3-0 lead from the first leg at Ibrox, there's a real chance for this squad to keep that European momentum going. The prize if they get through A. Playoff tie against either Club Brugge or RB Salzburg. Butland, now 31, was speaking ahead of that second leg, coming just days after Rangers were held to a 1-1 draw at home to Dundee. That result, combined with an opening day draw against Motherwell, has left them still searching for their first league win of the campaign and already playing catch-up in the table. And that's where you can feel the pressure at Ibrox, the kind of constant, unrelenting pressure that Butland admits tests your character every single day. It's a club I feel privileged to be part of, he says, and you can tell he means it. His take is that no matter the setbacks, you don't lose sight of your quality or your role in the team. For him, it's been about keeping the standard high every single day in training, staying locked in, and making sure that when his number is called, he's ready to deliver. He's also not shy about showing his belief in the new boss. Russell Martin's approach, his style, and the images the squad has been studying from matches have convinced Butland that there's something here to build on. It's definitely a demanding environment, he says, but it's one I want to succeed in. I believe in what the manager's trying to do, and I believe we can be really successful. That's the kind of leadership you want from your goalkeeper. Not just stopping shots, but pulling others along with him. Now onto the headline grabber, Nico Raskin. If you've been following Rangers preseason and the early games of this campaign, you'll know that there's been a lot of noise around the young Belgian midfielder. He's been linked with some big money moves away from Glasgow, the kind of speculation that can unsettle even the most experienced pros. And now, Russell. Martin has admitted that the chatter has had an effect, not on Raskin's professionalism, but on his mindset. The manager's words paint the picture. There's been no direct approach to Rangers from other clubs, but Raskin himself has been fielding calls, hearing the interest. And you can't just block that out. He's 24, ambitious, and naturally, it's going to make him think. Martin made a call to leave him out of the starting 11 for the first leg against Plzeň, and he was also on the bench for the Dundee match. But when he came on in that league game, he made a real impact. Exactly the sort of reaction the manager wanted to see. He's a fantastic player, Martin says. And as I get to know him more, I really like his character. Playing for this football club comes with clear demands, and it's my job to make sure those are understood. The big question everyone's asking, will Raskin still be wearing a Rangers shirt when the transfer window closes? Martin's answer is blunt. It would take an extraordinary offer to change that. And not just extraordinary in numbers, but something that makes sense for the player, the club, and the squad's ability to replace him. In other words, Rangers aren't looking to sell one of last season's standout performers, but the reality of modern football is that no one is untouchable if the right deal lands on the table. While all this is unfolding, we've also had Michael Beale, yes, the former boss, chiming in with his thoughts on Martin's early days. Beale knows better than most how intense the scrutiny can be at Ibrox, and he's urging supporters to give Martin time. 2 draws in the opening league fixtures. might not be the dream start, but Beale's point is that the team's still in transition. He reckons we haven't even seen the full picture of what Martin's Rangers will look like yet, with some key signings still unavailable and the system still bedding in. He even points to last week's win over Butland as proof that there's a lot of potential here. European nights, big performances, and the possibility of reaching the Champions League group stage. Beale's also quick to note that the whole club's had something of a reset over the summer. New owners, new ideas behind the scenes, and a manager with a different style to his predecessor. That kind of shift isn't something you click into. Place overnight, especially at a club where the demands are so unique. He recalls his own time at Ibrox first under Steven Gerrard, and then as the man in charge himself, stressing that success there is built over time through stability and the right recruitment. Martin, for his part, has already spoken about mentality being a key factor after that opening draw with Motherwell. It's a subject that's come up under previous managers too, whether it's Philippe Clement or Barry Ferguson raising the issue, and it's something Martin clearly wants to address head on. The message from the current boss is clear: the standards at Rangers aren't negotiable, and every player in every position is expected to meet them. So that's where we stand, Butland determined to cement his place. Raskin navigating the noise of transfer speculation, Martin setting the tone for his squad, and the ex-manager calling for patience from the fans. The next few weeks are going to be massive with European progression. On the line, the league campaign needing a kickstart and the transfer window still wide open. Right, then let's pick up where we left off. Because the story at Ibrox right now isn't just about who's playing well or who might be leaving. It's about the entire mood surrounding the club, the shifting pressure on the manager, and the way these players are being tested not just technically, but mentally. This is the point in the season where the tone gets set. Either you ride out the bumps and find your stride, or you let the pressure dictate the narrative. And if you've been around Rangers for any length of time, you'll know the narrative is never just written by what happens on the pitch. It's shaped by the noise in the stands, the speculation in the media, and the conversations that go on behind closed doors. Russell Martin is still learning the rhythms of this job, but already you can see the approach he's taken. He's not someone who's going to shy away from honest assessments. When he talks about players, you can tell he's weighing up not just what they're producing in 90 minutes, but what they're bringing to the training pitch, how they react to setbacks, and how they handle the kind of scrutiny that comes with playing for Rangers. That's why the way he handled Nico Raskin's situation stands out. By his own admission, Raskin's had a summer full of distractions. Agents, phone calls, whispers about moves to bigger leagues. Martin didn't come out swinging or criticizing. Instead, he managed it with conversations, decisions, and then gave the player the chance to respond on the pitch. And the response he got against Dundee, that was the kind of cameo that can change a manager's mind. It's why you can bet Raskin's still firmly in his plans as long as he's still wearing blue come the end of the window. But while Martin's man management is earning him respect inside the dressing room, results are always going to be the currency here. And 2 league draws to start the campaign is not the foundation he would have wanted. The frustration after the Motherwell game was already simmering, the Dundee draw only intensified it. You can feel it in the way supporters are talking. There's no middle ground. At Ibrox, you're either winning convincingly or the questions start flying. And those questions don't just target the players, they land squarely on the manager's desk. That's where Michael Beale's comments take on more weight. Beale knows the patterns, the way momentum can swing in Glasgow, and he's warning against making snap judgments. In his eyes, Martin's Rangers are still being assembled. Some key players haven't been fit, some are still adapting to the system, and the fixture list has already thrown them into the deep end with European qualifiers and league fixtures piling up in a short space of time. He's essentially telling the fans hold fire, let the man work and judge him when his team is truly his. And that's easier said than done when Celtic are already 4 points ahead. In the goldfish bowl of Scottish football, those gaps get magnified instantly. Even at this stage, you've got pundits talking about psychological advantages and early pressure as if the league's decided in August. That's the environment Martin has stepped into. A place where every point dropped is a crisis headline, and every win is either expected or picked apart for not being stylish enough. It's relentless, and it's why the mental side of this job is every bit as demanding as the tactical one. The European campaign offers both a distraction and an opportunity. Rangers have put themselves in a strong position against Victoria. Pleasant, and if they can see that through, they'll be just one step away from the Champions League group stage. That's not just prestige, it's money exposure and momentum. European nights at Ibrox carry a different kind of energy, and if Martin can harness that, it might bleed into their league form. But the flip side is obvious. Slip up in Europe and the pressure in the league will feel even heavier. For Jack Butland, these moments are why he stayed. When he talks about having unfinished business, it's clear he means more than just regaining his spot. He wants to be part of a squad that turns potential into trophies. And if you've got a keeper of his experience buying into the manager's vision, that's a huge asset. It sends a message to the dressing room that this isn't the time for heads to drop or eyes to wander. It's the time to double down. Martin himself is no stranger to high-pressure football from his playing days, but managing Rangers is a different beast altogether. Every team talk, every substitution, every facial expression on the touchline is analyzed. He's trying to balance the immediate need for results with the longer-term goal of embedding his style of play. And that's not easy when injury suspensions and transfer speculation are chopping and changing your squad every week. Take the Raskin case again. It's a reminder that while fans see 90 minutes, managers are dealing with a whole other layer of complexity. Players have lives, ambitions, and distractions, and part of the manager's job is protecting the team from the destabilizing effect of those outside factors. Martin's been clear they're not in a position where they need to sell anyone, and they don't want to lose key players, but he's also realistic. If an extraordinary offer comes in one that suits the player and the club, you have to consider it. That's football now, and pretending otherwise is just wishful thinking. The question is, can Rangers keep the squad intact, get through this tricky opening period, and build enough momentum to go toe-to-toe with Celtic across the season? That's the challenge, and it's made even harder by the fact that every other club in the league raises their game against them. You don't get an easy 90 minutes anywhere, home or away. And when you add the travel, the European commitments, and the expectation of playing a certain brand of football, the margins for error shrink fast. What's interesting right now is the dynamic between the fans and the new boss. There's curiosity, there's hope, but there's also a watchfulness. You can sense supporters are waiting to see if this is going to be another short-lived experiment or the start of something stable. That's why the early games matter more than just the points. They set the tone for the relationship between the manager and the stands. Get them on side early and you can weather a few storms. Lose them and every stumble feels like the beginning of the end. For Martin, that means getting the best out of players like Butland, Raskin, and the other key figures who can change games. It means having the courage to make big calls, whether that's dropping a starter to send a message, switching formations mid-match, or sticking with a philosophy even when the results aren't immediate. And it means being ready for the press conferences, where every decision is dissected. The truth is, this is a defining moment for the early chapter of his Rangers tenure. With the transfer window still open, the European qualifiers in full swing, and the league table already giving them ground. To make up the next few weeks could go a long way to shaping the season. If they get through to the Champions League playoff and then start picking up league wins, the whole mood shifts. The conversations turn from pressure to potential. But if the draws keep stacking up and there's a European setback, the atmosphere will turn quickly. And in Glasgow, when it turns hard. So we've got a manager trying to stamp his identity on the team, a goalkeeper out to prove he's still the number one midfielder, dealing with the pull of the transfer market, and a fan base split between patience and impatience. This is the tightrope that is life at Ibrox right now. And every match feels like a balancing act between the promise of what could be and the reality of what is. The stakes are already high, and we're only at the start of the season. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. There's a fair bit of chatter around Ibrox today, as the word on the wind is that Dier, the seasoned England international, has put pen to paper with Rangers in what could be one of the most intriguing signings of the season. No official statement has been blared yet, but several well-placed whispers inside the club say the former Spurs stalwart has agreed terms, lured by the promise of a starring role in the heart of the defense. Supporters still reeling. The ups and downs of the past campaign are already picturing the big man thundering into tackles on a cold Glasgow night, rallying the troops when the chips are due. It's said Dier sees this as a fresh chapter, a chance to command the line like a general on the park, bringing the kind of leadership Rangers have been rumored to be lacking in recent fixtures. His arrival, if confirmed, could well shift the balance in the title race, adding a steel-rimmed spine that could withstand the heaviest of assaults. But as with any rumor in the footballing world, fans will have to wait and see if the talk turns into something a wee bit more concrete. The excitement in Govan isn't just about the name on the shirt, but the character that Dier's reputed to bring. The laddie's known for his composure on the bay and his knack for reading the game before the danger even brews. Folk close to the club claim manager Philippe Clément has been pushing for a defender who can organize the back four, bark orders, and handle the psychological battles that come with high-pressure derbies. Dier at 30 still has the legs for it, but it's his brain the gaffer's after. They say he's already been spotted wandering around the training complex, sharing a quiet word with potential teammates, laying the groundwork for the kind of unity that turns decent teams into title winners. Of course, in the febrile atmosphere. Oh, Scottish football. No signing is ever without its skeptics. There are those who reckon Dier's best days might be behind him, and that the speed of the Premiership could catch him out. But there's equally a belief that this is exactly the sort of environment he thrives in. Tight matches, fierce tackles, and nae room for shirkers. Whether it's all just smoke or the first crackle of a genuine fire remains the question. Some pundits have been mulling over the tactical implications, suggesting that if Dier does indeed pull on the famous blue jersey, Rangers could shift to a more compact, defense-first approach in big games. His versatility, being able to play both as a center half and in a holding midfield role, opens up intriguing possibilities. Clément could use him as a screen in front of the defense against the likes of Celtic, Aberdeen, or Hearts, where control of the midfield battleground is vital. Others say the move's about more than just tactics. It's a statement signing. An England international, especially one with Champions League experience, sends a clear message that Rangers are here to settle for second place. Yet, as anyone who's followed the club long enough kens, the path for a big-name signing to Ibrox hero is littered with stories that never quite blossomed. The rumor mill keeps grinding, and while some claim the paperwork's already been signed, there are reports suggesting negotiations are still in the fine print stage. The truth might lie somewhere in between, a deal close but not quite over the line. If it all comes to pass, Dier's integration into the squad will be watched as keenly as a final day title decider. Dressing room dynamics can make or break such high-profile arrivals, and there's a murmur that some current defenders might feel the heat on their places. Competition, though, is rarely a bad thing at Ibrox. Sources say Dier's confident enough. I tell you when folk hour quickly, nay by talking himself up, but by setting standards on the pitch and in training. There's even gossip that he's already been given a quiet word about the importance of handling the old firm atmosphere. The roars, the jeers, the pressure boiling over at every pass. Fans, meanwhile, are split between cautious optimism and outright giddiness. After all, they've seen big reputations crumble under the weight of Glasgow expectation before. Still, for every doubter, there's a supporter dreaming of last ditch. Tackles, towering headers, and a no-nonsense presence that shouts leadership without needing to say much. It's this potential for transformative influence that's keeping the rumor alive, long after lesser tales have faded from the back pages. At the end of the day, football in Scotland thrives on stories like this. Half-truths, leaks, and overheard. Conversations that set tongues wagging in pubs and on terraces alike. Whether Eric Dier becomes the next talismanic figure in the Rangers' defense or just another what could have been will depend on more than just ability. It'll hinge on adaptation, resilience, and perhaps a wee bit of luck. For now, the very idea has injected a spark into pre-season chat, shifting attention from transfer spreadsheets to imagining how he'd look snarling at a Celtic striker on Derby Day. The speculation will nae die doon until either an official photo emerges or the rumor is quietly buried under the next hot headline. And in a city where football allegiance runs deeper than the Clyde, such stories become part of the living folklore, growing in the telling. If the deal's real, Dier's set to step into a cauldron unlike anything he's faced before. And if it's not, well, the Rangers faithful will find another dream to chase. For the moment, though, the thought of his boots on Ibrox turf is enough to keep the chatter flowing. Greetings, fans! Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned.